Hello, I'm Dr. Rosie Kuhn, and this is a series called I Want to Be a Better Coach. And I've been a coach for 20 some years, 25. I've been training coaches since 2001. And it's been a lot of learning on my part and a lot of direct experience as a coach, but also as a coachee. I've been coached by some great coaches and have learned a lot on both sides of the table, as it were. And these podcasts, the series is to um, answer some of your questions that you have, or questions I've heard from other people, or questions that come up in my coach group training group that we get together every other week and bring up issues that get in the way of our coaching. So I just thought I would share some of these with you, and here we go. All right. So first one is my client Mia left a text for me saying things turned out disappointing. So longer context is she was going to be doing something, and she was a little apprehensive and all that kind of stuff. And so she just left a message, says there's a lot to talk about, and things turned out disappointing. And I wanted to respond and say that's impossible, but I thought, well, I'll just let it be for now, and we'll talk about it when we talk. So the truth is, for me as a transformational coach, and I think my model of transformational coaching is inclusive of a spiritual model and or a larger sense of who we are. It's why it's called, my business is called The Paradigm Shifts, because it's a paradigm that's larger than I did this, it didn't turn out, I'm unhappy, what's next? Or it didn't turn out, I don't want to do this anymore, whatever that is. But because things didn't turn out the right way, it's bad, and I feel bad. So that's our general context of life in our consensus view of reality, in our current paradigm of fear and lack and failure, success or failure, proving, all that kind of stuff. So from my perspective in my model, which is about what's the bigger truth, bigger overview of who we are, this includes what happens in our life and how we can look at it differently. So Mia had an experience. She had been practicing and rehearsing and getting prepared for this. And the way that it turned out was the way it turned out. And for her, even though she was hoping not to have expectations, she had a lot of expectations, and that's what showed up. So in a sense, her hope was that she would feel elation and joy and delight in the experience that she had. And the results actually were that she didn't feel comfortable and things didn't turn out, and she left sort of slithering away, as she and I talked about, in shame. And so for her, it's like the whole event was a negative. For me, it was a positive, because it gave Mia an opportunity to look at where she is and who she is and how she sees herself and who is she really being and what's it all about anyway, in terms of what's the real motive behind what's driving her. She was on stage and singing. What's the whole motive behind that? And because she went away, for me, the truth is when we're really in ourselves and our essential selves, and we're really connected to ourselves, whatever it is, we're having fun. And whatever the circumstances, in a sense, we're having fun. It might be challenging or it may not go well, but we're enjoying ourselves, or we're connecting and engaging. And she wasn't, and she had a few moments, but generally speaking, she was so caught in the trying hard to do it right place that she left. She felt like a failure, and she doesn't want anything to do with going on stage anymore. The truth is that anytime a person has an event for you, it's a coaching, perhaps a coaching session. For me, it's a coaching session, or whatever I'm working on. It doesn't matter. Any life opportunity, every opportunity is presented to us everywhere through life. Everything is a learning opportunity. This video is a learning opportunity. I'm going to learn something by doing this and talking to you about this. Everything is a learning opportunity. And for her, that event on stage was a learning opportunity. And she walked away disappointed, but after our session, she was able to see that she was disappointed because she's holding on to some patterns and habits and ways of seeing the world, or seeing singing, seeing entertainment, seeing herself, that doesn't allow for the fun to occur. In a sense, so many of us are doing what we do to prove and improve. We come from a place of lack, and if I get this right, it'll show that I don't lack. If I get this right, people will like me, or I'll get approval. So there's proving, and approval. And when we're in that place, we're going to most likely be disappointed. And as coaches, we want to improve, and we want to prove to our clients, and we want their approval. And when we do that, though, we're caught in if I don't get their approval, there's a fear there. Fill in the blanks. If I don't get their approval, ... They won't come back. They won't like me. They won't tell other people. That whole place. But if we come from that place, we're pretty limited in the capacity for growing ourselves and growing our clients. So there's 2 points I'm trying to do here at the same time, which is, again, my client is disappointed, and I can go, oh, that's a terrible thing, and what happened, and here's where you did it wrong, or here's where you could have done it better, all that stuff. That's one way of coaching. My way of coaching is to see the positive, accentuate the positive, and see what was going on for her. In a sense, if I ask the right questions, and coaching is all about asking questions and being curious, I can empower Mia to empower herself to look at what's really happening here, rather than I didn't do it well, and she can justify for why she didn't do it well, and therefore it was a mess and a disaster, or go, what was really going on there? And she can watch herself and see herself and go, I was caught in trying to do it, anytime we're trying, we're not being authentic. I was caught in my old patterns of trying to prove and be effective what I was doing. She didn't have any fun. And when she got off stage and people were congratulating her and saying, hey, you did a really wonderful job, she couldn't even make eye contact with them. And she was like, I can't, thank you, bye. Because the shame was so great. So for me, my questioning for her is, what was the learning opportunity here? What did you see as your patterns and your habits? What's the source of this whole adventure as a singer, entertainer? And most of us, like 99% of us, at some point in our life, decided we had to do something. We had to come up with a scheme to prove that we were worthy of being seen, heard, and gotten. So many of us children, and I'm an adult child, as most of us are, we carry these wounds of, as being a child, never being seen, heard, or gotten, or rarely being seen, heard, and gotten. And your clients want to be seen, heard, and gotten. You want to be seen, heard, and gotten. That's the foundation to our being, is we want to be seen and heard and gotten. So the point here is that when Mia was 5-ish and life was going the way it was, and she was pretty much invisible to the family, she had to come up in her own way, decide, hey, here's a way for me to get some attention. Here's a way for me to prove my worthiness of being seen. And she, all from that point on, wanted to be an actor, singer. And each one of us decides quite often at 5 or most likely before 7, something that we're going to have to do in order to get some attention. Might be going to school, being educated. Like if I'm smart enough, if I get A's, my parents will see me. They'll see how great I am. Or somebody who's funny. It's like if I'm funny enough, people will see me. But they're not seeing me, and they're not seeing they're still not seeing who I am inside. They're seeing the funny or the intellect, or they're seeing the entertainer. But at some point, for 99% of us, we decide, hey, here's the route, here's the way, if I'm this enough, then I'm going to be seen, heard, and gotten. And I know a lot of entertainers who experience they're very good at what they do, but they still feel invisible. They don't feel seen. They don't feel like people connect to their true essence of who they are. So back to Mia, 5 years old, situation in which she decided, hey, I got to do something so that I'm seen, heard, and gotten. And her way was to say, hey, I'll be a show person. Hasn't worked, because the bottom line is her foundation still comes from, I'm not worthy of being seen, heard, and gotten. And as long as that first part is there, I am unworthy of being seen, heard, and gotten, then it's like an addict or an alcoholic. Our emotional growth stops, is halted at that stage where we go, nope, not doing this anymore. I'm going to take this route, whether it's alcohol or a focus on athletics, intelligence, any of those patterns where we develop strategies and a personality around it, basically, then we're missing that. I mean, we don't have the capacities to heal ourselves at that point at 5 years old. And again, very few of us grow up in families that actually see us and get us and listen to us and know us. So that's a lot of words to say that every circumstance in our life is an opportunity for us to see ourselves in the snapshot of our patterning. I can name 4 or 5 for me in terms of saying, here's what I decided how to be me, so that I would be seen, here, and gotten. And those are all ways of saying, see this is, I'm good, I'm great. But on the inside, I feel invisible and insignificant. I had to heal that invisible insignificance. And that's what Mia's up to. When she got off stage, she felt as invisible and insignificant as any possibility, because she carried that with her. It wasn't about fun. It was like she wanted to magically disappear this part of her that feels so bad. So the point is, as a coach, we're listening for what is it our client is, what's happening for our clients in any circumstance. What is it? There's a theme or a pattern or a habit or an addiction that's constantly shows up in any circumstance that shows up for people. And our job is to go, wow, look, that showed up for you. And if we can stay positive about it, which it is positive, because anything that can be revealed and anything that we can support our clients in revealing within themselves in the safe context of our presence, they could go, wow, that's fascinating. I do that over here, but I don't do that over here. Isn't that interesting? And they come to be curious about themselves, because you're creating a container, a safe container, your presence, to look and explore at patterns and habits and addictions and life themes where they can go, wow, that's really curious. I keep doing the same thing over and over. I do it over here and here and here. And when you can hold that place of positivity for them, no judgment, no right, wrong, good or bad, just like, wow, that's interesting. Wow, that's cool. You're actually seeing them and hearing them and getting them. Number one, most important thing. And you're giving them an opportunity to make choices based on that information. But if we go, oh, that was a terrible thing that happened to you, let's try it again. Or what do you want to, where do you want to go next? And what do you want to do? And it's too much. And that's one of the the things with coaching is we want to take people to the next level. It's like, okay, well, if that didn't work, let's do the next. What do you want to do? And if we're really listening, our clients are going to tell us what to do. Mia was very clear. She said, I am putting it all in the closet right now. That's what I need to do. I need to just put it in the closet. And for me to say, okay, I hear you. We're having a clear conversation rather than saying, well, if you do that, whatever my justifications might be. If I'm truly listening and truly honoring and truly hearing and getting my client, when she says, putting it in the closet, I honor and respect her for that. Amen. You do that. Awesome. And then I can ask her questions like, so now that it's in the closet, what's it like? What's it like being you? And the truth is she doesn't know because she's so used to being in the pattern of proving and improving that she doesn't know who she is, which is 99% of us, because we're so in our facades and our pretension. And if I have this or if I have this, as opposed to who am I without that, without that, without that, without that, without that. And we're playing in this paradigm in a sense, the paradigm of allness and simplicity and who am I? It's part of the foundations of transformational work. Am I a worm? Am I a butterfly? What am I? If I'm not in doing this on the ground, what am I? If I'm not in the air, what am I? And all of us, in a sense, when we're able to explore truly our essential presence in the world, there is no identifier. There is no, oh, here's who I am. We're attached to identifiers, but that's not who we are. And even now, you'll hear me say this 400 times. I don't know, but right now I'm 72 years old and I'm still in this learning. Who am I? And it's like, I'm not anything particular. I just am. And right now I am doing this video with you. I am speaking. I am enjoying this conversation with you by myself. I am in a state of being that is fulfilling. And it takes away all of this stuff that I can be identified with. Now, it's taken a lot of work to get here, but there's still plenty of identifiers that keep showing up in my life that are teaching me, wow, I'm still attached to stuff that's getting in my way of my fullest potentiality, which is what I want. I want to know my fullest potentiality. So, number one, it's all working. There's no right, wrong, good, or bad. Coaching conversation is not about how to do it better. It's about, or that you did it wrong. It's about, wow, who are you? What's it really like for you to be you in this moment? For Mia, it's devastating. She uses the word horror. It's horrific to be me right now. And I know those places, and it's natural for us to have those types of experiences, partly because, and primarily because, she's experiencing the 5-year-oldness, the emotionality of who she was before she started using her addictive patternings. Now we think of, and I'll talk about this next week, hopefully, addictions is not just to substances. Addiction is to patterns of thoughts and thinkings, and saying, if I do this, or if I be this, that way I'll be seen, heard, and gotten. And then we go down that road. At that moment, again, we stop growing emotionally. And so we generally are adult children, 5-year-olds, sitting in front of cameras or driving to our, doing work, being on the stage in front of people. Generally a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old, someone pretty young, and going, I can't cope with this. So if we sit with our clients and say, I totally get it, it gets scary and it's horrific what you went through. That child self, the adult self is pretty much in control. That child self is having the experience of, it's terrifying, horrific, shame-based, because that's the foundation of at least for Mia, that's the foundation of her existence. So as a life coach, this is where it's like, this is life issues. This is not psychological issues. This is not necessarily therapeutic issues. This is a life issue. A person is having a life experience. And for me as a life coach to go, yeah, I know those places. And I know about children. I know about what happens to us as children and how we make up stories to keep us feeling safe and make us feel like we're special enough or unique enough or important enough that we're worthy of being seen, heard, and gotten. I know what that's like. So me as a person talking to another person, I'm saying I get it, rather than making it wrong or bad or scary. Or she uses the word horror and horrific, and I think, oh, she better go see a therapist. It's like, no, this is a person having a human experience, not some dysfunctional psychological dysfunction. This is a human being having a human experience. And when we can look at it that way, it normalizes a lot of what creates trauma. It normalizes what creates separation and issues. It normalizes your capacity to be with your clients in a way that is a hearing and listening to who they are right now in their experience, as opposed to saying, well, let's get you on to what's next. If we can listen to them now, they will find, you're empowering them to find their own next. And that's what our job is, right? Is when we give them the room and the space to be here. When I'm in my conversation with Mia, she's like, yeah, I'm putting this in the closet for now, and this is what I'm being with. And what this is right now will be very life-changing in a sense. This is new. I don't know who I am without that. And that'll be her new experience, her new experiment. Who am I without that? So it's big work. So I have 3 things on my list. The next one is coaching. Actually, I wrote it down. I didn't write it the same way. We're coaching to the evidence and indicators. Let me see if I can find this quickly. Sorry. Focus on what learning opportunities are showing up and what patterns and life themes continually reveal themselves. Oops. Did I lose me? Did I lose me? Back to meeting. Okay. There you are. There I am. Much like I was saying, is focusing on who the client, who the person is, who the human being is, who's inside, who's behind the eyes, and what you're looking at or listening for. Who is that? And what's the source of their desires, in a sense? Does she desire, Mia desires to be, I think she authentically loves to sing, but it's too painful to sing because it's so wrought with the desire to be seen, heard, and gotten that she can't even have fun singing playfully. There are certain things I can't do because it's wrought with, oh my God, I can't do it well. There's a lot of people who say, oh, I can't draw. I'm not even gonna try. But it's like, there's the learning that we have to go through. But sometimes those things are so wrought with failure and shame if I get it wrong that we can't even begin. So at this point with Mia, she's saying, no, I'm putting this aside. And I'm going to focus on something else. And there are places she has an opportunity. She's every week she's doing something where she is on stage. But in that context, she's who she is. She feels comfortable. She feels connecting to the audience. She feels playful. She's herself. And it's fascinating when she can go, yeah, this is where I'm me. And here's where I'm not me, because this is so, again, using the word rot, this is so full of shame-based, not enough, proving, improving. Here, I've given it up, I've let it go, and I'm just me, having fun. That's what we want. So when we can look at these places with our clients and hold a space of connectivity and engaging and listening to them in a way that we're helping them connect the dots. We're helping them see, wow, isn't it interesting that there's a common denominator here? There's a common theme, a pattern that keeps showing up in every one of your circumstances. That's doesn't seem to be working. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that fascinating? And we give them that opportunity to see it from a positive place and not like, oh man, lots of dysfunction. We're all dysfunctional. We all came from dysfunctional families in one way or another. I believe there's some people who haven't, but generally speaking, we are here to have learning opportunities. So for life coaches, transformational life coaches at that, we're here to acknowledge those places as, isn't that interesting? In a sense, let's say when Mia started with me, she's like, I want to be on stage singing. It's like, excellent. So here she has an opportunity to be on stage singing, and it goes the way it goes. And it's like, I don't want to ever do that again. It's like, okay. But it wasn't like it wasn't successful. It was successful, but her lens is that she can't see much success. She can only see the failure and the shame. So it was a wonderful opportunity for her to see how she's seeing herself. It's a wonderful opportunity for her to see how her narrative of her being nothing, invisible, is still running the show, regardless of how great she was on stage. And so that's an opportunity for her to see that. But it's also huge because it's a huge, she's having to be with the direct, the clear, the true emotions that she felt as a child, and where she learned to feel and be shamed and guilty, where she learned that. And again, every single one of us learn this, generally speaking. And we carry it with us, generally speaking. So that's pretty much it for today. Just some light little banter. But this is where I love to play, because a client will come in and go, I'm just so disappointed and it's so terrible and horrible. And I go, really? Because what I see is these opportunities to reveal patterns and habits and life themes and addictions. There's a common denominator there that's being revealed every single time. And so me as a thinking partner and a listening partner and then a seer, if you will, witnessing, I can go, yeah, that's really interesting. What do you think about that? And we have a wonderful conversation. If you like what I'm doing here, if this was valuable for you, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And please leave a comment below if you found this interesting, if you found it helpful. If you disagree with me, let me know. If you've had experiences of this being challenging, let me know. And we could talk about this. This is not easy stuff. This is challenging stuff. But as I get reflections and some people saying, hey, I watched your videos and they're right on, pretty much. Lot to learn, lots to think about. That's good. I want that. It's not like it's something I'm continually learning more and more and more and more about this practice of sitting with people and being present to them. And I just want to share as much of that as I can with you. All right. Again, leave comments below, like and thumbs up and subscribe. There is a form in the descriptions below that can tell you that you can fill out and just ask a question. I would love to have your questions directly. All right. Blessings to you. Bye for now.